Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our TV channel, TV Energy channel. Today, we have a really hot topic with an esteemed, distinguished guest and speaker. We will talk about the energy relation between Turkey, Italy, and European Union. And also, our distinguished speaker, Michelangelo Celozzi, will bring 35 years of energy sector expertise to this discussion. He currently serves as the executive president of Trans-Mediterranean Engineering Network and now CEO of FCI Engineering. Our presentation will almost be 45 minutes, and after we will have 15 minutes for question and answer. If you have any question, we will ask you to kindly to ask and reach to us, and it will be far better and it will make more valuable our discussion. So to not make more long, I will just give the floor Mr. Celozzi, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you for hosting this event, because I think we should intensify our contact in this period. We are in a very particular geopolitical and geoeconomic context in which, after the collapse of the regime in Syria, there is a change ongoing, and we have to organize, to valorize this opportunity in this moment for preparing the new cooperation agreement in order to stabilize the peace in the Mediterranean. Is very, very important, and I think that this is the moment of the energy expert to give their contribution. We know each other very good. I have a lot of Turkish colleagues I know very well, and then we share a lot of point of view. We try this evening to describe this situation. The energy security is the pillar of the security in the Mediterranean. Without energy security, there is no security in the Mediterranean. Then, if you want to build peace, we have to prepare the energy integration of the market integration, the system integration. You can show the map. Voila, thank you very much. Italy and Turkey are the two doors of the European market, are the two gateways for exchange of energy in the central and eastern side of Europe. We have to valorize this opportunity. Number one, by open the energy system, integrate the energy system alongside the east-west direction. This is a infrastructure corridor well known by the European Union, is the Corridor 8 of infrastructure of the European Union. But we have to start up this opportunity, to start up the project to implement this connection between the East Europe and Central Europe. We have the infrastructure in order to activate this new corridor. We are at the two ends of the corridor. There is Italy is here and Turkey is here. The corridor is starting from Albania through North Macedonia and Bulgaria and Turkey. Then we are in the best situation for a shared plan in order to participate to realize a cooperation for open this corridor. A corridor very, very important for energy integration, in which we understand the interest also of the Arab countries. For example, the Emirates signed up an agreement for financing the submarine connection, electricity connection between Albania and Italy. In Italy, in the Adriatic Sea, there are already 2 other links, submarine links, with Montenegro and with Greece. But there is the option, the opportunity for realizing submarine grid between this side of the corridor. But at the same time, we have to develop the project of infrastructure, for example, renewable energy sources, but also gas if you want. And because the sides is optimal for integration. The problem are at the end of this presentation. The other one, very clear, the Maghreb and Middle East. In Maghreb, there is already ongoing a project of interconnection between Tunis and Italy, the EastMed project. The cable is ongoing the construction, but we have to develop a project for valorizing this connection. The cable is not a project, is a component of a project, of course. There is other opportunity are in Morocco, or where is already the market is already open, and they have the rules for managing the market. Then is an experience which can be exported. We exported in terms of business model and structure of the projects. Of course, there is always, and my Turkish colleagues know very well this old project for connecting Maghreb and Mashrek. But this is in Libya, there is the war in this moment. There are no the conditions for so ambitious projects. But in perspective, you and us, we know very well the opportunity for connecting Mashrek and Maghreb. In Mashrek, the situation, the most important is the circuit Jordan, Lebanon, Syria. Unfortunately, they are victim of the war. Then the first priority is reconstruction. But the reconstruction is the premises of development. Then infrastructure in this moment, gas and electricity infrastructure are the absolute priority for startup the development in these countries, which are very different but very complementary in their structure in the Middle East. This area of Middle East is the most important for peace and development, a connection between Middle East and Europe, with the two channels, the central one and the eastern one. There are all the conditions for realizing, for proposing, not for realizing. The realization is already the second step, but for proposing a cooperation project in order to realize the infrastructure. The needs are the rules for the business model. Is not easy to share and to uniform the business model, but the business model have to be consistent. Not exactly the same, but have to be consistent. And consistent have to be the development project in order to meet demand and offer of technologies and of system and components, and in order to coordinate is too much strong. We do not want coordinate nothing, but we have to share information in order a self-coordination of the project because it's not possible to do all the project together. We have to share some priority in order to identify the priority in the project, in the infrastructure to be realized. The component, the condition is always the same. The ability to share experience and knowledge. For example, in Italy, we have developed some technologies, but not all the technologies we need. For example, we have a good experience in hybrid grid, in direct current and alternate current, which can be the more flexible system for integrating the energy system in order to separate the problems, the obstacles, and open the energy flow along these corridors. The problem, the opportunity are how to start up and how start to work together. It's not easy, the answer, but we are here for this discussion. I respected 15 minutes, you said. I think more or less, yes.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Actually, this 15 minutes, you talk it and you give many information to us. And I agree with you that energy security, one of the most important topic for countries. Before everything, that the current situation of the countries and the wars are going on is showing that the energy security is one of the main problem or main things that you need to prove for your country. and also it was like a hybrid war tool that states used to each other. And also we know that Italy also having new strategies as an energy in Maghreb, in North Africa. And nowadays what we are leading on the news that Italy have some different and new project improving in how I will tell, like new applications or new agreements with the North African countries and also in the Middle East countries about to starting new approach in energy. So I want to ask a question. What do you think about the new Italian energy strategy? And do you think that there is any opportunity for integration between Italy and Turkey about this new approach? And what do you think about it?
In Italy, there is a new important Mediterranean plan supported by the Italian government. It's the first time after a lot of time of less attention toward the Mediterranean policies. Then today we have a lot of agreed of institutional agreement, for example, between Italy and Emirates, yesterday between Italy and Saudi Arabia, and Mattei plan. Please excuse me. Then we have to discuss how to valorize this grid of agreements as context for realizing, for planning new project of interconnection, of integration, because system integration is the physical condition for market integration, and the coordination is essential in order not to spend to spend in the best way a lot of money that is available in this moment for reconstruction and for security. All the financial institutions are very active in this moment, but the allocation of financial resources have to be consistent with the lifetime of single projects and to identify the priorities. For in this moment, the first need is to speak each other, to communicate, because we have to share information in order to concentrate our effort on shared objective. For this reason, I know that you are planning an important event in Turkey, a meeting. Also in Italy, we are we have started the organization of a meeting in the late months of May or beginning of June. We are working with my colleagues, former colleagues of Terna and the Italian Association of Electricity. I think we have to coordinate these two initiatives in order to avoiding the contemporary events, but to share, to start a sequence, a story of meeting in order to share always updated information, managed by people which know very well the topics. This is very important because is very difficult to translate the message of the coming from industry, university, and the expert community of energy toward the institutions and financial operator. Then our interest is a common interest to share information, classified and organized knowledge of the situation and of the opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities in this moment, which are openings, even for the gas in the Mediterranean and the electricity integration. Electricity and gas are two faces of the same coin, are always the vector, because in the next years will be impossible to renounce to fossil fuel, but we want to valorize renewable energy sources, and gas is the complement of renewable energy sources for managing the intermittence of the availability of renewable energy sources, and waiting for the development of the nuclear supply chain. I have an old nuclear engineer, but unfortunately in Italy they blocked the supply chain 30 years ago. It's a very big damage for our country, but we know exactly what we need for startup a nuclear supply chain. Please remember that the construction of a nuclear power plant is only a picture of a film. We have to consider the entire supply chain and all the system governance. But anyway, is not our topic this evening, but for saying we have to speak each other, we have to share experience and knowledge in order to work together is essential. Nobody can save it itself alone. We have to cooperate. Cooperation in the terrible situation of the Mediterranean is absolutely essential. And I think that Italy, Turkey, even for cultural and for their history, we have to meet again and work together. But with your support, I am sure you will success in this very important initiative.
We are also agree with you, and I hope so. So it will be a really successful result after this initiative. But also you talked about energy types as nuclear. What I want to ask that, like, which renewable energy types or which energy types can be hot or can be can give opportunities for two countries, like a nuclear energy or other renewable energies or solar, which one have opportunities to integrate and work together for Turkey and Italy, like the common topic? What kind of energy type can be a common topic of two countries to start and integrate a business initiative or other strategies?
This should be the best way for developing a nuclear project. Is not, there, it doesn't exist today national projects. That's impossible. The risks are very high, the investments are very high, but the risk, I don't speak about risk of nuclear risk. There are no nuclear risks today. We have an experience very important at global level. Then is not. I do not speak the risk of failure of the components of the power plants. I need risks for the energy system, because the nuclear technology create dependencies. Is a form of technology colonization, and we are in Italy and Turkey are importer of energy and know very well the relevance of the independence of for the security of supply. And the security of supply means to diversify if possible. The risk is do the opposite of diversification, is centralization of some choice. Then, first of all, before of the power plants, today on the market there are a lot of solutions proposed by different countries. Very well, but which is the more secure for our energy system? The cooperation and the international consortium are a solution. But in this case, is not the first problem is not technological. There is strong geopolitical constraints and constraints deriving from the characteristic of each energy system. I always remember that an energy system is not a theoretical construction. It's the result of the history, of the geography, of orography, of hydrography, and even of the geology, unfortunately for all of us, of a country. Then we have to make consistent the regional choice in terms of security. The security is the first in the very famous problem called the energy trilemma. Security is the first priority. Sustainability is the second priority, but we have to means sustainability also in financial and economics point of view, not only the environmental point of view. The environmental point of view is very important, of course, but please remember that the sustainability should be also from the financial and economic point of view. And then the third part of the trilemma is affordability. And affordability is a different approach, different meaning in the different countries of the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean is the site of the differences. These differences may be a very good opportunity. At the opposite, may be terrible wars. Then we have to consider the differences between the different countries, because affordability has not the same meaning in the different countries. Then we have to create a common base of shared choice. The problem is always how to choose the best solution. And the best solution is not always the same in the different countries. But anyway, we have to know each other in order to promote objective of common thing. It's very easy to speak about common interests, but it's very difficult to define the common interest, even in terms of time planning. It means that to realize an infrastructure, it takes whatever it is, an interconnection, a gas pipeline, a nuclear power plant. The time is always more or less 10 years. 10 years between the final investment decision and enter in service and the running of the infrastructure. 10 years means that our decisions today are the reality in 2014. This is our problem, to planify the temporal objectives. And in this case, the European Union is an exceptional case, but not in the good sense. We have to understand even the bad experience. In this moment, there is a difficulty of the European industrial sector for some decision. They are not bad decision or good decision. The problem is how to plan the objective. Is very, very important, because it takes a lot of time to define a new supply chain, even a new infrastructure. Then you can imagine a new supply chain which doesn't exist in this moment. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. But when we were talking, and when I look at your map, as you told, Maghreb and Mashreb and two door. One of them is Turkey, and another door is Italy. When we try to move it a little, what I thought that, do you think Italy and Turkey can be door of the Europe, between Europe and Central Asia? What do you think about the Turkic war sources can be between Europe and Turkic war, and which is Italy and Turkey? Like a one branch is Italy, the other branch is Turkey.
This topic is because it considers the history of the two countries in the Mediterranean. History means culture, means experience, is a common point of view for evaluation, for the choice which can be done. Then The second, but not the second, is the geography, the position. The position respect the Central Europe, and Western Europe. It should be a fatal error. Ignore the sense of integration of the two halves of the. There is not two halves of Europe. We have considered the European Union as a big market, but not only a market. We have to match the priorities in the Western Europe and Central Europe, which are different, but have to be consistent. You know very well this side of the Mediterranean region, not only on the northern side, but also on the southern side. You know very well the situation in Middle East and the relationship in this area of the Mediterranean. We say in Italy, we call it enlarged Mediterranean, because the Mediterranean is not end. This is only an instrument, a tool for meeting, as old Romans said, Mare Nostrum in Latin. That means the sea is not a tool for separate, is also a tool for unify and to share the resources, the common resources. We import gas, of course. There is the gas in Libya, in Maghreb. The gas is one of the most diffused fossil fuel, so in Italy and in Turkey, unfortunately. But we have to import this and to transport this. The south side of the market is the most important diversification of the European energy business model. Is one of the causes of the difficulties in this moment. Not to put all your eggs in one basket. The proverb, the English proverb. Then diversification is an obligation, and the south side of Europe and the relationship with Africa and Northern and Middle East, and Africa in particular. Africa may become a big global opportunity or a bomb, can explode. For demography is a risk for all the people in the Mediterranean. You know very well what means the flow of migration. Migration has been a big problem in Turkey, and I know very well. Then we understand which is the risk. It is a common risk. Then we have to solve this together, and the knowledge have to be shared. To avoid risk, the first step is the knowledge of the context. And then in Africa, there are a lot of big opportunities. But think that in the Sahel, in this part, it's not the sub-Saharan corridor. There are 5 of the top 10 needs of human crisis. It's terrible, the situation. And today there is the war in Sudan, which is a risk enormous also for big countries like Egypt. Then I know that your institutions are present in Ethiopia. For all these crises are interconnected. All is not possible to separate. Then our ability is we have to be aware of the situation, and the awareness depends on the level of knowledge. There are not simple solutions for complex problems, and we have to approach knowing the point of view in the global south. How today is famous the global definition, the global south. What is the global south is difficult to define, but the name global south we know very well. And then the integration toward the south-north direction. This is the main direction because the European market is the most important market at global level for energy import. It's the larger because we have not enough energy resources. Then the larger import market of energy resources is in Europe. We have to connect because the valorization of the southern side, valorization means the price of something depends on the meeting between offer and demand. We do not want to come back to a colonialist approach. We have to understand that the gas resources in this area is valorized. To be valorized, they have to put in a market context. The same things in this area, which you know very, very well. The solution for valorizing the Eastern Mediterranean gas resources, which are enormous, we have, as always, to share the resources, not try to separate. Because if you separate, it's difficult to valorize the same resources. Then is a common interest. The solution, and we know Enrico Mattei, the name is famous, was the father of energy policy in Italy, and not only, always said the people which have to do with petrol. Yesterday, petrol was for energy in this moment. That people have to do with politics. Then, to the dialogue between industry, energy industry, university, and institutions is unavoidable, because energy and politics are once again the two faces of the same coin. It's very difficult to manage, but and unfortunately Enrico Mattei was killed. But anyway, yeah, it's very, very important and very, very difficult, but unavoidable. Is we cannot avoid to discuss about dialogue between institutions and industries. Without this, there are no projects and there are no possible of development. But in the Mediterranean, there are all the causes and all the solutions. The difficult is to meet them. But I think that cooperation is always the best, not the best way, it is the only way to solve these problems. And without avoiding, we have to clarify the transparencies are very important, because if there are after beyond the solution, we have to understand to try the common solution in the Mediterranean is unavoidable, and the wars are the result of this fatal errors during the past. Then we have to solve this. But anyway, even in this case, the point of view is common between Italy and Turkey, and the association, the cooperation could be a good solution for a lot of Mediterranean countries. During our meeting, coordinated, not in the sense that we have to coordinate the two meetings. We have to be consistent in terms of time and of topics, in order that the one is the complement of the other one. And here the voices of the Mediterranean operators is very instructive and very useful. We hope.
You hope. Actually, when you talk and give information to us, I thought that before, if a country have a sources, energy sources, it is reason of the war. But now when we are talking about the energy sources, we are saying that it can be reason of the collaboration, reason of the soft power, reason of the peace. So actually, it is all about how we are looking to energy sources. Because like if a country have energy sources, as you thought, like Libya, like North African countries or Middle African countries, all of them in the war because of the sources that country interests is just conflicting with each other. But now what you are taking attention is, if there is a sources and if there's a common interest, then let's collaborate. Yeah. It is really like it is actually so simple. Like instead of the conflict, let's collaborate. Let's save each other's. Let's prove each other's energy security, and let's live together with separating our interests and sharing with each other. Actually, it is one of the best thing that you said and took my attention. It is like changing your thoughts, changing your view of the look. And also, what I'm thinking that, like, what do you think for energy collaboration, for other collaboration, doesn't matter, for energy diplomacy, what is the huge challenge that country is facing to come together and for collaborate? What is the, like now we can think about the current time. What is the worst situation or huge challenge that country facing to come to one table, to collaborate with each other? What is blocking them?
The title of this event is very interesting for this reason, because the dialogue is the only way to discuss. The dialogue without constraints, because all these problems are very very difficult to be solved. Then the reaction are very strong when we touch some topic, but we have to discuss even understanding the reaction. The reaction is obvious, but is necessary for discussion. Then the diplomacy is the energy diplomacy in the energy diplomacy. That's what Enrico Mattei said. Energy and politics are the two faces of the same coin. And this is the difficulty of diplomacy.
Yes,
if not,
exactly.
Should be very. I am an engineer, and then I am I should be a very bad diplomatic, but that's because I esteem the ability to manage these problems, these topics, and even to separate the question and the answers. You can pose the same question to two people and you will receive two answers different. And then to find the synthesis in this case is your job, not the job of engineers. Then good job and good luck. But we are available to support the discussion if asked, because the first step is to pose the ask.
Thank you so much.
To find the right answer, we have to pose the right question.
Exactly, that is what I was thinking. First of all, right question. Asking right question.
is the same problem of artificial intelligence, or like the internet. In internet, there are all the answers, but the problem is to choose the question. This is your job, and then I am happy to work with you.
Thank you so much. And also, there's one more last question. I don't want to make it too late. There's one last question. How will Turkey's strategy towards new generation energy technologies, like such as SMR, affect regional energy balances? Like you know that like nowadays nuclear energy and SMR technologies are hot topic in Turkey and also in Europe. Also, this is what I know. So, what do you think the Turkey needs to improve this kind of the energies, their strategy towards this kind of the energy? What do you think this can affect the Mediterranean dynamics or Mediterranean countries balance? What do you think about that?
You know that this is a very, very difficult question. I said the first step is the choice of the technology. There are different technologies today on the market. The first risk to manage is dependencies. In Europe today, there is a war. There is the war for this kind of risk. Dependencies create problems. Independencies is difficult. Then we have to choose. We have to choose the technology on the base of the dependencies created. The small reactor, the modular reactors, are not a game change, because we know that technology is very old on the market. Is the same technology we use in the military marine, submarine, and the big navy. It's exactly the same. Well known, is possible to realize. We have to decide how to manage this technology and how to manage, please, the framework in which we need two important institutions to create in order to start up a nuclear supply chain. Number one, the nuclear agency. The nuclear energy agency is the institution for qualifying the technologies and the components used in the nuclear power plants. We have to qualify the supplier. We have to qualify the technologies in order to make the choice. This is a public interest and an institutional interest also for security. Then the nuclear agency is essential. The second one is the safety protection, not from terrible fusion of risk, etc., etc. Because we have to install, to create a grid for monitoring the radio protection. How he say? Do you understand if it?
Exactly, that's what I understood. Radioactive, about radioactive protection.
Yeah, exactly. These two institutions have to be separated, absolutely independent, because we have to avoid interference and mutual constraints. They have to be independent. In particular, in the countries like Turkey, but also in Italy, we have the same problem, for the seismic risk. Then, in this case, we need these two institutions which make the final decision at national and international level. Cooperation agreement, to have is not, engineer can give you all the information we need, but the decision have to be institutional. This is the framework in which, knowing that the nuclear fission and fusion is a problem of time planning. The future of energy is in fusion, nuclear fusion, but it's very long-term opportunity. And if we realize some nuclear power plants, which they are both modular or large size nuclear power plant. In Japan, they have reactivated 14 nuclear power plants after the Fukushima accident. But they have the organization to do so. For security and for safety. Security and safety are different approach. And then we need the subject for managing these two kinds of risk. That I am not against the modular, small modular reactors, of course. I am a nuclear engineer, and then I am fascinated of these technologies, and is not a problem. The small modular reactors are the always very old problem, how to separate the risk. But it's very difficult, because you please imagine that if you have a thermal power plant, gas-fired, in each moment of is running, in the power plant, there is only the energy necessary for producing the electricity in that instant. In a power plant, nuclear power plant, there is all the energy for 1-2 years of production. Always there, in a box. This is the essence of nuclear risk from seismic point of view. For Fukushima was not a nuclear accident. It has been a natural accident.
Natural disaster, exactly.
We have to be able to manage. Absolutely. Then monitoring and managing the qualification. You have to qualify the operators authorized to supply these components and system. And anyway, when we realize a power plant, we have to run it for 30-40 years to recuperate the investments. You can cut, but my reactor is a bit, is not a big, is very small. No, because I am only we are cutting the problem, but the problem is always the same. Maybe more easier the location of a smaller nuclear power plant, because the constraints for safety and security are more limited. Imagine the emergency procedures. You have a country with 80 million of people, then you know very well what means. Then let's go. Nuclear may be a good partner for limiting the fossil fuel use, but the fossil fuel will be part of the energy mix for next 30 years for sure, and the renewable energy sources should be valorized in the next years. Then the energy mix is renewable energy sources, gas, and nuclear. In the equilibrium in this mix depends on the country. In some countries, it's crazy to realize a nuclear power plant because there is not the context for. In other countries, more advanced in terms of technology, it is possible with the appropriate organization. But when we arrive at this level, the risk is to say some obvious answer, then completely useless. We have to enter in the operational case and the projects, and the evaluation have to be independent because it's a common interest for the country. Cooperation could be also in this case a good way for share the risk among more countries at the same level of competences, and then is very useful for all of us and for distributing the solutions, the power plants, and not concentrated on, because the concentration is another problem. And again, but I do not want solution. The French solution, you know very well. In any case, please remember that nuclear power plants and renewable power plants produce electricity. Then this choice involves the management of the final uses, from cooking to transport, etc., etc. The explosion of electricity production means explosion of electricity consumption. Then we have to planify the response, the reaction, the development of the grid, and in particular to change the use of energy, because a thermal use is not an electricity use, of course. Then digitalization is another constraint, pushing toward electrification of process and procedures. Next strong demand in electricity comes from artificial intelligence, the enormous database, that it is important to define the scheme in which to classify our question and our answers, choosing the right interpreter of this institution and industry. And you are an university association, and then you have a special role in the very stimulating and promoting the production of new idea. The mix is a problem for each country. Excuse me if a bit obvious as answer, but at this level I cannot answer.
Exactly, this answer was including everything that we need. Like it was very informative. Thank you so much. Even I just took many notes. Like I was just trying to take the notes when you were talking.
Very much. Really... This is another risk for me.
Really, it was a.
You are the independence to understand this contribution, which will be for sure different from other colleagues in the energy sector. Then, if not, we should be robot. No, we are not robot. And then discussion is very useful. Thank you for this.
We also thank you too much for accepting our invitation and making this event great like that. And it was really an informative night, an informative webinar for us. I'm pretty sure that audience also took many information, and it was also beneficial for them. We are really thank you.
Points of view more than information. And then we see you soon in our meetings, one in Turkey and one in Italy, and we take in mind this discussion for organizing and for discussion with you. We will inform you before the final decision of the approach, and in order to coordinate the two events, even with institutions. Because anyway, this is another question. The organization of the event. Thank you.
We will try our best for support you and try to make a good collaboration to get a final successful result. You can be sure about that. Thank you so much for this night.
Wait for this. Thank you very much.
I hope we can meet soon again. Thank you to our audience that they listened to us and make this webinar great. Have a good night and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Have a good night. Thank you very much.